Hey there, lovely people. Welcome to Be Your Best You with Tash and Becky, your go-to hangout for all things spiritual, subconscious, and downright magical. We're here to sprinkle a little mystical wisdom into your everyday life and help you level up your reality.
Picture this as your cosmic coffee date, where we chat about the unseen world, blend in some psychology vibes and stir up the subconscious magic. Get ready to be the queen of your own reality, live a life that lights you up and have a blast doing it.
So grab your latte or your tea and let's dive into another episode of Be Your Best You, where the mystical meets the mundane and your best life awaits.
Cheers to creating magic together.
Let's do this.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Be Your Best You with Tash
And Becky, the Bash edition.
Today we are talking about self-forgiveness. Simple as that.
Simple as that, but as powerful as that as well,
Yes.
because
Yes.
we all really, no matter how big or how small, there's going to be things that you need to forgive yourself for.
Yeah.
And it's the only way forward, isn't it? It's the only way to move on and be able to remember who you are.
Exactly. So everyone needs to listen to this episode, because whether you have something big that you know that you are holding yourself, accountable for and you won't forgive yourself for, whether you have that or you can't really think of anything, there's always going to be places where you need to forgive yourself. This episode is a permission slip to do that. And we're going to tell you exactly why it doesn't benefit you and how you can start getting to the root cause of why you won't forgive yourself, and skip all that other stuff and just work on that so you can start really pushing forward now, stepping into your power, like you said. So this is a powerful one. Please share this one, listen to it twice, 3 times, until you get it in your head. Let's all forgive ourselves.
Yes.
Enjoy, guys. Okay, so if you're the kind of woman who's doing all the healing work, all the mindset work, all the manifesting, but you still feel stuck, it's not because you're broken. It's because your nervous system and your subconscious doesn't feel safe to slow down. So we made you a free 12-minute audio experience called Return to Self, the Subconscious Reset, to turn down the noise and bring you back to your center. Grab it free in the show notes. And today we are talking about self-forgiveness.
Yes.
Everyone needs some self-forgiveness in their life.
So many people, not just women, but I'm just think about women, but women and men, I think, of a certain age, 30s plus, come to that crossroads where they can't move forward. And I do feel like a lot of it has to do with self-forgiveness for anything that they may have experienced in the past, whether it was their fault or not even. And if people could just allow themselves the permission to forgive their actions, forgive their thoughts, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can't move on until we've done that.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that's what we want this episode to be, right? We want this episode to almost be a permission slip.
Yeah.
And I want to make this very clear. Not that you need a permission slip,
No.
but we all feel like we do right now in the way we are.
Yeah.
So please take this as a permission slip to forgive yourself. Now, listening to it right now before we do the episode, you're going to think, well, how does that even work? But what we're going to try and do is open your mind to see where you might still be holding yourself accountable for things that you've done and shaming yourself, and where you haven't forgiven yourself, so that you can go, oh my gosh, and then start the process of self-forgiveness. Because obviously it's really important to say, you can't just say, I forgive myself and be done with it. We all know that, don't we? Because as a lot of us have probably tried. It's definitely a process, it's a journey. But as with everything in this round that we talk about, awareness is the key. Awareness is where it starts. So this episode will hopefully shine a light on where you need to start forgiving yourself. Or if you already know where you need to forgive yourself, but you're struggling to, hopefully what we talk about might give you then the permission slip that just sometimes it sounds so simple, but I've experienced this personally. Sometimes you just need to feel, it's okay.
Exactly.
And that can be enough to shift.
Right. because it's really holding you back, isn't it? If you're carrying this weight around with you, and it can be big things, but it could also be like really small things, couldn't it? Like when we were talking earlier, it could just be like that you didn't do well in school. Like, and really, actually, what bearing does that have on you now as an adult? Probably none. You've probably all, we've done all right, sort of thing, but you still carry that shame of, oh, I wasn't good enough, or I couldn't pay attention. So it could be those small things, or obviously like more life-changing things where you've had to, well, like relationships, or make decisions that you might regret. Should we regret? That's a bit of, that's sort of linked to the forgiveness, isn't it?
Yes, it is actually. Yeah, regret's an interesting one, isn't it? Well, not something that we've really spoken about, but I know with a lot of, I'm thinking back now to a lot of clients that I've worked with, some in particular, a lot of the work we have focused around is literally around regret for everything that they've done in their lives.
Yeah.
And, it gets to the point where you look at it and you think, where is this regret getting you?
Yeah.
Because regret will only continue to make you do the same things that you've regretted that's the irony of it.
Yeah.
All the things that you're regretting and you're punishing yourself and you can't forgive yourself for, if you are still focusing on that, you are going to continue doing those behaviors and then ask yourself, why can I not change?
Yeah.
So regret is actually a really, really great emotion to tap into to help you identify where you need self-forgiveness. So thank you for that. That's really powerful. So if any of you are aware when we say the word regret, you have things that pop in your mind and go, oh yeah, that's something I definitely regret. Well, there you go. There's your entry point to start the self-forgiveness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And no, like honestly, it is as simple as that. If you're still regretting things, you will still continue to repeat that pattern.
Yes.
As soon as you accept it, and again, acceptance is big, it's a big word, isn't it? And it's like, it's not easy. It's something we have to work towards achieving, I think, acceptance.
Yeah.
But, when you can start accepting what you've done as it's done and it is, and then there's a lot of work around that, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go, yeah, I accept it again.
No.
You can't just go, yeah, I accept what I've done. Let's move on. No, but you have to first have the intention of acceptance.
That's right. Exactly.
So think of the thing that you regret and then think, right, okay, so how do I now? I want to, because that's your intention and that's it's everything. Your intention is everything. It's instructions to your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
It changes your energy field. And so when you say and you put out in your frequency, I want to begin to accept what I've done, enter your thing here.
Yeah.
Then the universe, your spirit guides, your subconscious mind, all of it is going to start showing you, it's going to start bringing things up to help you process to eventually come to that place of acceptance. And that will look different for everyone. But what it is absolutely going to call for you to do is sit down and feel the feelings that you felt. And you aren't going to want to do that. Because if it's something that you regret, there's more than likely you're ashamed of it. There's a shame attached to it. You're not going to want, your subconscious is going to try and protect you from feeling those feelings that you felt because they're just not nice. They're going to be like, so you're going to have done everything you can to possibly avoid those feelings. And in so doing, you're still going to be repeating them. Unfortunately, we've already established that. So sit with them and feel those feelings. And if you have to cry or if it makes you feel uncomfortable, do it, or it's all part of the process of acceptance. Right. But once you feel those feelings, this is the work. And I'm talking about this from experience because this is what I do in my process with my clients when I work with them. Once we go back and regress to a memory situation, and in this case, let's just say that I was working with a client who had regrets and I took them back to an event that they regretted. Let's talk, because we were speaking about in the kitchen, about abortion.
Yeah.
So someone could potentially go back to having an abortion, making that decision, and experience all the feeling that they felt around that, whatever you can imagine what that might be, guilt, whatever, shame, all of it, sadness, the whole thing. That's a really good example because it's a heavy one, right?
Is.
So you go back to that, you feel the emotions, and once you've felt them and cleared them, and when I mean that, I mean emotions take 90 seconds to be processed through your body. We said this before.
Yeah.
We do not do that. We do not allow emotions, most of us, for the most part, don't allow an emotion to run through us for 90 seconds. That's a minute and a half.
Yeah.
If we allow ourselves to do that, it would clear, the cycle would complete.
Yes.
But we feel the feeling. It reminds us of that very original event. So say for this person, it would remind in their everyday life now, they're still doing this pattern, because as soon as they hit a feeling that felt like they felt when they had to make the decision to have that abortion, they're going to feel that. That's going to bring up all that emotions. It's going to be so heavy. It's going to be so hard. They're going to shut it down. They're not going to feel it. And so the pattern continues, because there's no awareness around it. There's no understanding of where that feeling came from, why your subconscious is responding like this, why your body is responding like this. And so you can't change it.
No.
So then once you've to go back to once you've spent the 90 seconds, allowing that emotion to run through you and you clear it, whether that looks like crying or just simply really feeling it in your body, be very aware of how it's coming up in your body, potentially in your stomach, in your chest. Lots of people get it in their hands, like tingly hands, sometimes in their heads. So wherever it is for you, doesn't matter. Feel it in your body. That is something that I think a lot of people don't understand. How do I process an emotion? How do I feel it? Well, when you cry or when you laugh, for example, that's a very obvious feeling of how you would process it.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting that big or intense of a reaction, the best way of doing that is just paying attention to how your body feels. So you might have like a churning feeling in your tummy, or potentially your heart beats faster, you know, your hands are tingly, your lips going tingly.
Yeah.
When you pay attention to your body, that's how we realize where the emotions are. You won't necessarily know it's an emotion, but that is you allowing it to pass through.
That's such good advice. And it's like you said earlier, once you've accepted it, the universe will show you ways as to how to then clear it. So, for example, I was just thinking when you were talking, like, you know, when you might regret something, say you've had an abortion when you were younger, not regret it, but you can't forgive yourself for it.
Yes.
Right. In that instance.
Yes.
And you are acceptant of that. So you've accepted that, but you want to clear it. I feel like then the universe gives you little signs and messages. So you could be sitting there of an evening watching telly and it comes up on the telly. Now, usually you turn over or go and make a cup of tea. This time, understand that that is the universe sending you a message for you to just sit there quietly. No one has to know, and just sit and feel it.
Yes.
And have a conversation with yourself when you're doing it. And that's the reprogramming, isn't it? So that when you it's a trigger, isn't it? Like we've spoken about before, but instead of hiding from it, confront it.
Yeah.
And tell yourself something different when it's happening.
Exactly. That's the point. Like when we feel our emotions, that's what we're doing. We're confronting it. Exactly that. And we're bringing the awareness to it so that we can bring, again, our shadows up into the light. So yes, and that is important to say as well. It doesn't, the feeling, the emotion doesn't just happen once and then you're good.
No.
You have to, that's it. Think of yourself as like a pressure cooker. That's what I always like to say. And then all these emotions over the years, you've got the starting one, but then all over the years they go in and in and in, and there's layers upon layers and upon layers. So we need to keep releasing it. So perfect. Like you said, the universe will give you a spirit guide. They will give you opportunities to continue releasing.
Right. And each one gets a little bit easier.
Easier, deeper. But what I didn't finish saying was that when you release your emotions, after you've done that and allowed them to release, you get this sense of clarity because emotions fog stuff a lot of the time because they're so heavy, you feel them, so you can't get past them. But once you clear the emotions, it's like a fog list, and then all of a sudden you can have clarity around why you felt like that, what started it, you know, blah, 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 how it's a pattern, how it continues. You get more information.
Yes.
And so with that information, things become very clear and you can see, that was why I that was where my shame came from, or that was why I made the decision in that moment, and that was because of this and this and that and this and this and that. And so once you get all the information, that makes it a lot easier to come to acceptance and therefore self-forgiveness. And that's what's really important, because yes, then like you said, you can continue. Once you know the facts around it, you can then change your story. You can then tell yourself a different story and reprogram your subconscious mind with that new belief. But you can't do that until you know what story you've got written.
Yeah.
Right? Because those emotions cloud the story, basically.
Yeah.
So once the emotions are cleared, and like we said, you might have to do it a few times here and there, but every time you'll get a bit more of a piece of the story. Sometimes it comes to you and it's like, I've definitely had that where it's just hit me in the face all in one go, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes you have to put the pieces together. But once your story that you've got written about yourself, but that moment then becomes clear, that's when it's easier to then say, right, okay, this is the story I now want to rewrite.
Yes.
And these are the beliefs I need to have that go against the old story. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes I think that, like, because obviously you can start telling yourself a different story, like I forgive myself, or I release shame for the decision I made. They're very broad and they don't really speak to you. It's like, you know, when you say affirmations like that, when they're not really hitting the spot. But when you know something very specific, as in, I mean, I don't even know, like, I don't know. The reason I made that decision in the moment was because I felt shame for going against the grain. And that was because I always tried to please my father when I was a child to gain his love, just for example.
Yeah.
See how much more specific that is.
Yes.
So that you can actually then, when you're rather than saying, I am no longer ashamed, I forgive myself, you can say, I am loved. I know I am an adult. I don't need to look for my father's love anymore because I give myself love.
Yeah.
I understand that when I was younger and I made that decision, I didn't know any better. And I was still running a program of, I was trying to find my father's love.
Yes.
I was doing the best with what I could at the time. Now I know better. I can make a different decision, but I understand where I was then. I didn't know any better. And so I forgive myself.
Yeah.
You see how that makes it much easier.
Yes.
Rather than, like I felt shamed for making the decision to have an abortion.
Yeah.
Now I have to forgive myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also, like, some women listening to this won't even think that they deserve to forgive themselves. And that's what I find really sad, and what I want everybody to know, that you are so worthy of forgiveness. Emotional.
I know. See, I feel. Yeah.
You know, because what is it that's holding people back from feeling that they're worthy of that?
Yeah.
You know, what sort of helps me as well is, you know, like thinking of like how I would speak to my daughter. That's really helpful. Or, you know, or your best friend, you know, and to turn that back in on yourself.
Yeah.
Like what would you say to her? For example, the abortion thing, you know, would you want your daughter to regret that for the rest of her life and tell herself she's a terrible person and she deserves everything she gets? No, you wouldn't, because she doesn't. So say that to yourself.
Yeah.
Treat yourself with the same kindness.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's like, we all know that.
We do know it,
but
on
it's
paper,
easier
don't
said
we?
than done.
Yeah,
Isn't
and
it?
we would say that to someone else.
Yeah.
No, you know, that doesn't define you. Some of us can't, most of us probably, isn't it? Can't quite turn that in on ourselves, or even admit that that's what we're doing, that we don't feel worthy of forgiveness. And well, I made my bed. That expression, made my bed, now I've got to lie in it.
Yeah.
So just shut up about it.
Yeah. And also, like you said, a lot of us won't admit that, but more than that, so many of us, we just can't see.
No.
Because, you know, I know this more than anyone. My job, what I do every single day, and I have incredible results for everyone else, is to be able to see inside their subconscious mind, to draw it out for them, to see the patterns that are going on, and then help them to release them, clear them, forgive themselves, etc. Can I do it for myself? No, I can't, because it's not that we can't even admit it, it's that we cannot see it.
No.
It's so difficult, because it is part of us so
Yes.
much so that we can't even see there's room to change it because it just feels like it's the truth.
Yeah.
And this is this is the whole process that we have to practice on a daily level, that I've always have the intention every moment of my day. I'm trying to question everything, to be so open to the fact that anything that I think is just the way it is might not be that way.
Yeah.
And even in so doing, I still can't see things. Like, that because we've just had a conversation about something related to that with me that I still haven't been able to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Which you saw a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And I was listening to what you were saying. Sure. But I still couldn't make it make sense for me. Because
Yeah.
I think, because I'm trying now to, based on my experiences, I think what it is sometimes it's not even that you can't see it, but it's just that you've constantly got that voice in your head that goes, yeah, but what if it is me? What if this is my, who I am?
Yes.
And you have it's those shame patterns that play that stop you from being able to forgive yourself because you're still seeing like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. So if you still feel like you're doing the same thing wrong, how can you forgive yourself? Because you're still in the process of doing it.
Right.
That makes
total sense. Yeah.
So that makes it really, really difficult.
And you need someone else sometimes, don't you, to point it out.
And again, that reminds me, and, again, I feel so lucky that I have you, that we have each other. Because, so for the big thing where that big thing that I had to forgive myself for, I couldn't have, I don't want to say I couldn't have done it because we can.
Yes.
But what I can see now from our experience, which made my self-forgiveness so much easier, was that when I was in that time of where I just thought I was an awful, awful person and I couldn't see any other way, and there was a lot of external evidence that may have said that was true, you were always there to say to me, but what about this and that? You are such a good, put that to the side. You are still a good person, and you would reflect back to me all the things that you saw in me that I really was. That was truly me as a soul, rather than my human actions, my human actions and behaviors, right? So in my mind now, I'm thinking, well, you were the external voice of what we all need to work on and have for ourselves, right? Which is fine. I see what you're deeming is what you've done wrong, what you can't forgive yourself for. You're not denying that was there. I see that, and yet look at this. And so what you did was almost like pulled me away from my focus, which we talk about all the time. What you focus on, you get more of, right? Yeah. If you weren't there, because at that time I certainly wasn't awake and aware, and I didn't have that voice inside me that knew there could be a different way. I didn't even have that awareness. I just didn't. But everybody listening now does have that awareness. So you're already ahead of where I was, right? So that's brilliant. But what you did was you got me to focus on the good, not denying the bad, but just focusing on the good. And the more I focused on the good, the more that helped me be at peace with the other stuff that I needed to forgive myself for. So I wasn't denying it or being delusional or putting my head in the sand. I was facing it head on, whilst at the same time having the focus on, but this is who I truly am. And if this person can see this in me, then, and I knew that. I knew it as well. You weren't telling me stuff that I didn't know. It was just stuff that I couldn't believe because of all the other stuff that was going against that I couldn't forgive myself for.
And it's hard when it's just you talking to yourself, isn't it? Like, say you knew all that, but to have somebody else, it just hits a bit harder, doesn't it?
But the whole point of this and what we're doing now and what I know now from doing all the things is that we don't want to have to rely on people to be saying
You don't
that.
need to, no.
And now my obviously what I work on all the time is to be able to have that your voice for myself.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're always going to want to have people around us, and having people around us saying that is only ever going to help and bolster it. It's not about not having people and not relying on people. We want to be open to having other people help us.
Yeah.
But what we need to make sure first is that we're doing it for ourselves first.
Yeah.
And this is the way, like, this is why this episode is important and we wanted to do it, isn't it? Because we want to just bring attention to the fact that you can be that voice. Like, you have to be that voice for your self-forgiveness. You have to be. So if you have a friend, if you're lucky enough to have a close friend that you can talk to about these things and they are able to reflect that back to you, by all means, allow that in, receive that and use it. But if you haven't, you know, it's fine. You have to just imagine that is, you've got that within you. Yeah. Because what a powerful thing to have, you know?
Amazing.
And it's just focus on what you know. Really, even though it will be so shut out, like that stuff that you have to forgive yourself for is going to be such a loud voice. And anytime you try and say something good about yourself or something nice about yourself, it's going to be, but.
Yeah.
And then that is just going to gobble all of it up.
Yeah.
So your job is to turn the volume up of despite that, don't push it. It's almost like don't push it down when that goblin comes up and says, no, because you can't forgive yourself because you've done this and this and that and that. It's not about just trying to turn it off and shut it up. No, it's like, yeah, okay, I know. I see that. Yeah. I see it and I agree with it. And all of that is true. And yet.
Yes.
And then allow yourself to turn it up.
Yeah. Because what is this doing for you, holding on to these things?
Nothing. Well, I've taught it already.
Absolutely
it's perpetuating the same
spiraling,
behavior.
Yeah. Spiraling into other behaviors.
Yeah.
Causing you other problems. You don't need it. You don't want that.
No.
You don't have to carry it.
It's pointless to carry. No one's going to give you a medal at the end of the day and say, well done, you carried that shame so well, good for you. Like, you're just going to get to the end of your life and you're going to go, I let that heavy baggage stop me from achieving all the good that I could have achieved in that lifetime. I've heard so many people, so many souls say that to me. I truly have.
Yeah.
And I want people to hear that. Like, whether you believe in reincarnation and past lives or not, please know, like, I've heard so many times that same thing. And also, you don't even have to think about reincarnation. If that doesn't resonate with you, if you can't get on board with that, go listen to what people say on their deathbeds in this life. Yeah. They'll say the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We want to leave this earth, don't we? Knowing that we really did give ourselves the best chance. You know, we came in because yes, we're all connected, but we are obviously separate, and we are here to actually really think about ourselves first with the intention of helping everybody else, right? So how can we do that if we're holding on to shame, guilt? You know, it's you're not being the best version of you. No. Like, you're not here to punish yourself and to put yourself in prison. Basically, you're walking around in your own prison for what? Yeah. Hurting yourself and then everybody around you, whether you realise it or not. Yeah. In ways that you might not even see. It could just be energetically, couldn't it? You know, it doesn't even have to be in your behaviour.
No. I mean, energetically, it will. In the end, it will affect your behaviour, and you might not see the results of it for years to come. No. It's like, if you're running a pattern, you might have something happen, and then you could have like a decade until that pattern comes back to bite you in the ass again, and you're like, oh my God, I've done it again. But that's a decade's past and you've still done it, because in the meantime, nothing of massive importance has shown up so you can see it. Yeah. And then when it happens again, if you don't catch it, then another 2 decades could go past and you're still in that same pattern. And I want you to ask yourself now, like, ask yourself the question, if there's something that you know you cannot forgive yourself for, or hold on to this question, if there's nothing that you have coming in your mind right now of something that you can't forgive yourself for, hold on to it, because now after this conversation, if you set the intention that you want to be aware of, what do I need to forgive myself for, something's going to come up, and then ask yourself these questions. Yeah. Right? What am I scared of if I forgive myself?
Yeah.
What am I scared of happening
Oh, good
if
question.
I forgive myself?
Yes.
I mean, have you got something that you can think of that?
Well, I'm thinking, because when you were talking as well, I'm thinking, and also don't minimize your what might come up for you. Don't think, oh, well, that's only small. I'll just that I shouldn't be. Like, I'm just thinking with myself, as in something minor.
Yeah.
Could be like, I didn't try hard enough at school.
Yeah, that's a big. It's still a big one,
Right?
But yes, but
So then that means I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I can't pay attention. All that stuff. And when I almost sort of minimize it when I say it, I'm like, well, that's silly. Like, well, everyone thinks that, but actually, no, there's a lot of shame around that time in your life, isn't it? Now we know about ADHD and autism and all that we didn't have, you can really forgive yourself for, okay, so maybe that wasn't the environment for me. There's all these other factors. Maybe I had sensory issues, man. All these things we understand, like psychologically now, does actually help. But like you say, like, we don't want the labels, but when we know there's these behaviors, it's just really psychology, isn't it? It's not about you've got ADHD or whatever. We've all got these things. But it can make more sense to you and you can forgive yourself. But like, don't minimize that. Like, oh, well, everyone's got shame around school or, thinks they should have done better. So I'll just forget that. No, because actually, like, that was a big thing for me. Now I'm thinking about it. Like, I was stuck in my own prison.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk. Yeah, I had friends and everything like that. And I got by, I survived, but I definitely wasn't thriving or even know who I was, because I would have been wearing a mask to try and fit in, and I couldn't voice what was going on in my head, like if I couldn't concentrate or I couldn't pay attention. But at the same time, I was very good at pretending I was listening and concentrating and being well behaved, so no one ever had an issue with me. But so there's actually loads all around that, isn't there? It sounds like a small thing, but like, you've got to like take that mask off. I suppose it's having not forgiving yourself for wearing the mask in the first place.
Yeah. So do you feel like you've forgiven yourself for that now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only because of everything that we know now.
Yeah.
And also, like, obviously, so many people will be listening to this, won't they, whose kids have got a problem at school, like neurodivergent, whatever that may be, and is resonating with it and is in the process forgiving themselves. Because also, again, you talk to your children a lot differently how you talk to yourself. So in trying to help your children with these things, you are helping yourself, aren't you? Because you're saying, oh, you're just voicing now everything I was feeling but was too ashamed and embarrassed to say myself. So it's quite we're going through that at the moment, aren't we? That's quite probably an easier one to use to help forgive yourself. I'm trying to think of something, that's.
But I mean, yes, and that's a really subtle one, isn't it? And that's because there's a scale. So you've got something where, like I said, there's something like really big that you've done where you can really say, do you know what? I so regret that I did that one thing.
Yeah.
Like, and you have all the shame around it. You can't explain it away. Like, it's massive. You just can't. You're carrying that heavy weight.
Yeah.
And then it goes down to one where you're like, so maybe a pattern of behavior over a period of time. So for example, it's just popping into my mind now, potentially it might resonate with people. Like, a lot of people have issues about their parenting style. So you could potentially be not forgiving yourself for the way that you've treated your children, parented your children, because you are basically dysregulated. And now you're starting to realize that, but you realize there is a lot of self-forgiveness you need to have for how you've parented your children now, right? So it could be something like that. And then there's the ones like you've spoken about where we get really, really specific, which you start uncovering the deeper you go. And that becomes harder to do the self-forgiveness because it's much more ingrained, it's much more subtle. But then the thing is if you as with everything, if you take the lowest hanging fruit first, if you take the things where it's a real obvious one for you, where you know you are still holding shame or regret, or you're punishing yourself for doing something, start with that.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the easiest thing to start seeing how you can forgive yourself. And then you'll have practiced that, you'll know how it feels, and you can take it down to those smaller things that you've taken. But I want to go back to the question. I want to go back to the question and ask you, what is it that you're scared of will happen if you forgive yourself?
Yeah.
So, for example, for me, I can give you an example with my one, why I was scared to forgive myself when I really thought about it. And again, it wasn't something like I could answer that question straight away. It was by feeling the emotions, processing it, getting that clarity, understanding. Like my fear of forgiving myself would be because then I'll do it again.
Right.
Or then I might do it again.
Yes.
Right. And I don't want to.
Yeah. You're almost putting a boundary in for yourself because
it was, it's
if I let that down, I might do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And
because you're saying it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that, yes. And so that, I mean, that's just one reason. That would have been the answer to one of my questions for my self-forgiveness. Maybe that will resonate with someone. But then let me then tell you how, if that is your fear, let's break it down and say how you could understand what you need to do to understand that. So first of all, we've already said this before. If you don't forgive yourself, you absolutely are. And that's your fear. If you don't forgive yourself, you absolutely are going to do it again.
Yeah.
It might not manifest in the same thing that you've done before, but it will still keep happening. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So already that fear is null and void again. Yeah. But secondly, like you said there as well, so then you're worried if you're going to do it again. What did you say? The
boundary. You're saying it's okay.
You're saying
to
it's
behave
okay.
that way.
Right. Yeah. So what we have to understand is that forgiveness doesn't mean that you agree with the behavior. And this goes for self-forgiveness and forgiveness for others, right? It's so important. It doesn't ever mean that you agree with what the person's done. It releases you from, like you said, the prison. The forgiveness releases you from the prison. And this is what you have to understand. By forgiving yourself, what I said before is, like before, you're not acknowledging what you've done. The process of forgiveness is you absolutely sitting with and feeling and accepting everything that you have done, and being okay with not liking it. Being okay with saying that behavior was wrong and I don't want to do that behavior again.
Maybe getting to the place as well where you can be grateful because of the lesson.
Absolutely.
That you could look back and say, well, actually, thank you for that because I learned this.
Yeah, but I think you have to get a certain amount of self-forgiveness before you can see it that way.
Yes,
so that is the outcome of having self-forgiveness, which is absolutely where I got to.
Yes.
And that's powerful.
Yes.
And also goes into the fact of what I was saying around this fear, is that it's not, if you're worried that you're going to do it again, or you're going to hurt someone, or you're going to make a bad decision again, whatever it is, you're not, because you're understanding that what you've done you don't like and you don't want to do again, but you're acknowledging it and you're facing it head on. But then you're like, but I forgive myself for that, and now I know better. Now I know better. I won't do it again, because so many times, and this is so important, and I really want people to hear this.
If you're trying to manifest your desires, but you're doing it from pressure, from control, from I need to fix myself energy, your body won't let you receive. We made you a free 12-minute nervous system reset called Return to Self, so you can soften first and then create from the right energy. It's linked in the show notes.
Once you have become aware of all the behaviors that you don't like, that you didn't want to do, that you're ashamed of, and that you regret, and you've stared them in the face, you can then have a choice.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. When you did what you did, whatever it was, you didn't know any better.
No.
And I know I can hear a lot of people saying, like, that's not an excuse. But it is.
It is.
It's a perspective. We have to come from this from a perspective shift from what we're used to thinking about. And that's really important as well. We're constantly trying to get you to have reframes of how we think, to step out of how we've been conditioned to think and see the world. In order to have self-forgiveness, you have to do that as well. Yeah. You have to understand that we only know what we know.
Yes.
And we can only do, and then again, this helps with self-forgiveness and forgiveness for others. We can only do our best in the situation that we're in with the knowledge that we have and the awareness that we have.
Yes.
But the great thing is, to your point of, well, you can actually feel grateful for it. You can use that because you can then say, okay, so I've made this mistake. What can I learn from it? Well, what have I learned from it? What am I now aware of that I wasn't aware of before? And now I have a choice. So to go back to that, the answer to the question of what I said with like, my fear was that I'm just going to do this again. You are not going to do it again unless this time you consciously decide to do it.
Yeah.
Because before you didn't have the choice. You didn't have the ability to go, this is going to end in this.
Right.
Do I want to do that? You didn't. You just, you didn't know any better. You did it. But now, like, this is what I always like to say to myself. Like, when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
Because now you have a choice.
Yeah.
So now you won't do it unless you consciously decide to do it again. And then that's another thing.
Yeah.
But the thing is when you're doing this work, you know, most of the time you're practicing on trusting your intuition and doing what feels right to you. To make those mistakes again is not going to feel right to you. So it's going to be a lot harder to get caught up in them.
Sure.
Because you're paying attention to what it feels like. Also, your subconscious mind has learned, well, bad stuff happens when I make those decisions. I don't want to feel that again, so I'm now not going to do it.
Yeah.
So you are now in so much more control because of your mistake, because of the thing you can't forgive yourself for. It's actually helped you because you're not going to do it again. You're not going to repeat it. And so, like you said, what is the point in holding on to regret and punishing ourselves and using it to keep ourselves in a prison when actually it can be the very thing that frees us? Because we have an ability to make a choice, and everything is about a choice. You know, I love to say this, don't I? You know, we always have a choice. There's always a choice, because there is, unless it's subconscious.
Yeah.
And then you don't have a choice, right? It's really hard. It's really hard. But yeah, that is so, so important. And I want everybody, whenever they're questioning how I know, like, I can't forgive myself.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing. Like, please know that these mistakes will absolutely help you to make better choices and do better things in the future if you forgive yourself. Because if you don't forgive yourself, you're not facing up to the true things that you've like really done. You're not facing up to them, and so you will continue to repeat those patterns in those ways. It's in your absolute best interest to forgive yourself. And your subconscious mind is gonna, or your ego, like, you know, is gonna throw up every reason, every excuse, take every opportunity to tell you that you shouldn't forgive yourself. But please remember, again, it's not this evil little devil that's on your shoulder. No. It is always just trying to protect you. That's all it's trying to do.
Yeah.
And when you can be aware of this, you can say, I don't, again, choice, I don't need your protection anymore. Like, I'm in control. You're not in control. Step back. I don't need your protection. I choose to forgive myself because I know it's going to push me forward into coming closer to who I'm supposed to be. Because let's put it this way. Let's go bigger perspective again. Let's zoom out. What if the very thing that you will not forgive yourself for, you chose to do before you incarnated into this earth, you chose to make that, in inverted commas, mistake, because you knew that it was going to teach you some valuable lessons that you needed to be able to go on in your life and step into your soul's purpose, to help other people, to do the things that you came here to do. How many times can we say that our mistakes have actually taught us and taken us on a completely different path because it's taught us lessons? And I'm talking about minor mistakes here. Let's just take it back to minor mistakes.
Yeah.
Like we learn by our mistakes. It's the best teacher. You don't learn by getting things right all the time.
No.
That doesn't teach you anything. When you get things wrong, it absolutely teaches you differently, because you can go, well, I'm not going to do that again. I'll do this. It's no different with those big life things that you are holding yourself to blame for and you cannot forgive yourself for. See it in that way.
Yeah.
Potentially you chose, especially the bigger it is, the more likely you chose that for yourself, and not just for yourself, but for others as well.
Yeah.
Because again, the way I see it, everyone in our soul group, all these people that are in our lives and are involved in these events that you can't forgive yourself for. Now, some events don't involve other people. Some of them is just about you. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if there are other people involved, potentially you were all up there and you chose, like, I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this, and that's going to teach me forgiveness. It's going to teach you, I don't know, about boundaries. It's going to teach you about trusting your intuition. It's going to teach you about self-love. Let's all do that, and we can all get something out of it.
Yeah.
And then obviously we come down here and emotions get involved, and we're in the heavy, dense world, and all of a sudden, you know, there's pain, there's deception, there's this, there's that, and it all seems awful down here. But when you take it from that bigger perspective, and again, I have the privilege of being able to see this because I get to hear about these things with my past life regressions and talking to the subconscious mind, etc. So I do appreciate that, but take my word for it. Like I've heard it so many times that it can't be, to me now, it just can't be a coincidence. I'm hearing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And so that, if you can again see it that way, then it's going to make it easier for you to forgive yourself. As with everything we talk about, you know, we spoke about in an episode about living in these dark times. We can't live in peace in these dark times if we're seeing it from this lower 3-dimensional perspective. We have to zoom out in order to be able to see it. It's no difference with the self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
If you're trying to forgive yourself from a place of just, this is me, this is who I am this person, I was born this person, I'll die this person, it's going to be really, really hard to forgive yourself. You have to zoom out into the bigger perspective. You have to see yourself as a soul. And what does that mean? You're a soul, you're pure, you're perfect, you're love. You know, that's who you are, you're light. But then you come down in here, you put this meat suit on, you get the programming, you have things happen to you, you know, and then all of a sudden you think that's who you are. But it's not. Nothing about us right now is who we truly are.
No.
And I believe our goal here on earth is to eventually get back to that part of that soul, to be able to express ourselves as that soul here. Because I do believe that our souls are, though we are all love and light, our souls still have character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like personalities, they have
We're
something
not all the
about
same.
them. Right.
No.
Exactly. So I believe that I've got a lovely visual like right now actually. I'm like seeing as we come in, we're kind of like, we've got this dark, heavy suit on and it's all dark colours and stuff. And as we walk through life, we're pulling off, doing everything that we talk about. We're pulling off all these layers and the colours are getting brighter and brighter until eventually we're glowing gold, because now we are living as our soul, who we truly are. And who we truly are. And this is so important to remember. I know I keep saying it, but you have to remember this in order to forgive yourself, I believe, truly, is that soul was golden and glowing. Even it was still there, even when it was covered up in all this hard, dark colours of casing of the programming and our self, like hatred and all of that. It was still there. That's who we are. That all that dark colour, all that casing, that's not us. And that's what you started off with saying right at the beginning of this. It doesn't, your mistakes do not define you. They don't define you. I mean, they do define you in a way that unfortunately they do, because then we believe all these things about us, but they are not who you are.
No.
You are incredible. You are perfect and you are whole, but it's this earth that has made you think that this is who you are as a person, and you are not. You didn't come in that way, and that isn't who you are, unless you continue to tell yourself the same story, and then it appears to all intents and purposes that is who you are. And the more you do that and the more you feed into that, the harder it's going to be to pull that away and to tell yourself that that's not who you are. But if you can hold on to this fact that you are actually this pure soul that came down here and chose these hardships to learn and to help other people learn, well, that's already going to help you zoom out and into the perspective.
Right.
And it's going to help you be able to step in when your ego and your subconscious is telling you, no, but you do need to punish yourself because you are about, and this is who you are. This is who you are deep down, through and through. You are this person and you will never change. You can't, like, it's going to do that, but you cannot listen to it. You have to be able to see that you as a soul and allow you to put your hand in and go, no, stop. Like, that is not who I am, because I know who I am. That's why we bang on all the time about remember who you are, because it has its effects on everything. You can put it into anything you're trying to achieve, and it will always come back to that, will always come back to being your anchor. That will be the reason to be able to break the programming, basically. That's what it is. We have to break our programming, and self-forgiveness is tied up in all of our programming. So just remember, it is not who you are. Though your ego and your subconscious will absolutely do everything in its power to make you believe that it is you, you have to keep reminding yourself, be, you know, like Becky was to me, you have to keep reminding yourself of who your soul really is, of the qualities that your soul really has. Like,
because you know, don't
because
you?
You do know.
You do know.
You do know.
Really sit down, be honest with yourself. You know who you are.
Exactly. So turn up the volume.
Yes.
Just turn up the volume.
Yes. Be quiet and turn up the volume. Just go and focus on you. Sit quietly somewhere. Do some journaling. We really know who we are. Even without doing that, don't we? We all know we're loving beings who just want to, who just want a peaceful life.
Yeah, exactly. And go back to the question of what am I scared of? Because I just shared my fear, but you might come up with your own fear. But what's really important then is answer that question.
Right.
And then you'll be able to, it will lead you to be able to start forgiving yourself and letting it go, because then you can come up with the new beliefs or the new story that counteracts that. Because again, at the end of the day, we already know it's not serving you, like to not forgive yourself. And I'm really struggling to say that. I'm really struggling to say this because I know there's places that I still haven't forgiven myself for, and I know that I'm still not aware of what they are. Like, I'm sat here, everything that I'm aware of, I have forgiven myself for, but I also know that there's stuff that I'm not aware of that's hidden. So I'm saying this from a place of, yes, I have forgiven myself for a lot of stuff, but also from a place of, and I'm still sat here and I know there's things that I have to forgive myself for. It's an ongoing journey. But what I am telling myself, even as I'm sitting here speaking about this, and what I really want you guys to know, is that there is no benefit whatsoever to holding yourself hostage and in prison for the things you've done in the past. There is absolutely zero benefit, but so many detriments. Okay? So I could guarantee the answer to that question, what are you scared of if you do forgive yourself, is always going to come back down in some way to, because I'm not a good person. Because I'm worried I'm not a good person.
Right.
Okay. And so, like everything that I say, I'm always like, forget all the up here thoughts, get down to the root. We always want to work on the root. Because if we're doing all the surface level stuff, it's like putting a plaster over something. The root's still there. You're still going to have a festering wound. If you get down to the root and you pull that out, your wound can close up, heal nicely, and you won't get infection, and it will be done. And that's what's the most important thing. So really, really get down when you're answering that question. Get down to the root. It's more than likely going to be because I'm a bad person. And then
not worthy of forgiveness.
Right? Which still comes down to, because I'm a bad person. I'm not worthy of forgiveness because I'm a bad person. If I do that again, because I'm a bad person, I'll hurt someone again. You know, like I'll fail. Like I'll do this and I'll amount to nothing because I'm a bad person. You know, so work on that. Speak to yourself on that level. That's where what I'm saying to you about zooming out on the perspective, seeing yourself as a soul, you know, who just chose this for reasons of learning. if you can really hold on to the fact that you are genuinely good.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people I have? So when I test people's limiting beliefs through body muscle testing,
Mm-hmm.
so many people test positive for I am a bad person.
Really?
So many of us inherently, subconsciously believe that we are bad, that we are a bad person. And well, I don't have to say any more about that, do I?
No.
Like, how awful is that? We know our beliefs create our reality, right? So if you're living through a lens of I'm a bad person, you can feel all the emotions that you're going to be feeling on a general day-to-day basis. Shame, regret, anger.
Oh, why do we do it?
It's
to
like all
ourselves?
sorts of stuff. Like it's just self-punishment. It's just going to be so many things that come from that. So if you can work on like in any way that works for you, and honestly, this is again, as we say, it's not an overnight. You can't say to yourself, I'm a good person
And it's fixed.
and it's fixed.
No.
But every day work on the fact that you are, build that belief that you are a good person. Because I'm sitting here and I'm saying to you now with absolute faith that I believe everybody in here is genuinely good at a soul level. You're a good person.
Yeah.
And we are not, yes, we could have done things that are wrong and that's hurt people and that's bad, or that's hurt you, or that's, all of the things. Because again, I'm thinking of people who have done things and maybe they're thinking, oh God, I made that person's life hell. I made my parents' lives hell. Stuff we've done in childhood.
Yeah.
Like, just please give yourself, again, cheesy, but it's love. The more we punish ourselves and we cannot forgive ourselves, the more we are feeding it with that hatred, the more it's going to grow. It is not serving you. If we can give ourselves love for the things that we have done, acknowledge them, we don't like them, we're not like saying that, oh, it's okay and we're sweeping it under the rug, and I send you love because I know who you really are.
Yes.
I know who you really are.
Yeah.
It's going to help you shake that off and move forward and be the person who actually you truly do want to be. You are going to be a better person on the 3D, on the physical manifested level. You are already a good person as a soul, but your belief that you are a bad person is going to make you do bad things, because that's how it works. So it is in your interest, if your fears are around and then I'll be a bad person because I am a bad person, it's in your interest to send yourself love and forgiveness for the things that you have done, so that you can then go ahead and subconsciously do good things, do better things, have better behavior, and you will step into who you truly came here to be. And we've said this before, we need everyone to be in that place where they are acting as if they came here to be, because we need everyone in their soul purpose and their soul mission for the way the world is right now. It's in everybody's best interest for everyone else to be in their soul purpose, because we're only ever going to benefit from that. And like when you've forgiven yourself and you can truly say like I've forgiven myself for that, you'll just have so much peace. Life gets better. In general, nothing has to actually be happening, but you just live in a state of peace and lightness when you can forgive yourself for whatever it is that you've done, no matter how big or small. I feel like I'm saying the same thing now, but I really want I really want to get the point across that there is no point in punishing yourself and not forgiving yourself for the things you have done in the past. There is just zero point of it.
You're only bringing more darkness into the world.
Exactly.
And we don't need that, do we?
So your job, really, your first job is to figure out why you're scared of forgiving yourself. What is stopping you from saying, okay, let's look at this. Let's at least try and forgive myself. What's stopping you from doing it? Because that's your first step in.
That's such a good question, isn't it?
It takes you right to the root.
It really does.
It bypasses all of that other stuff. Because you could go on this long journey and be like, and I'll do that, and then I'll do that, and I'll work through that, and I'll work through this. But actually, you can cut all of that out if you just figure out the root of it and just work straight on that point. So it might feel like you've got nothing to do, you're not working on nothing to do with your actual problem that you're trying to forgive yourself with, it will seem like it hasn't anything to do with it. But honestly, that's what all the subconscious mindset work does. It's never specific, it's very general when you get to the root, and that's why everything drops away after that, because you probably have no idea what else is being affected by you holding that belief of I'm a bad person. Or I'm not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of forgiveness, you know, all of that. But really still that does come back to because I'm a bad person, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. Oh. Hope everybody takes that on and has a little think about whether you know, just the smallest thing can be holding you back. We need pure love for ourselves, compassion, you know, treat yourself as you treat others. You know,
just remember, when you're on your deathbed, you are not gonna say, oh, why I wish I hadn't forgiven myself for that. I wish I'd continued punishing myself for that mistake I made 25 years ago or 60 years ago, or you're not. So always think about, it's something that I do. That's why I love near-death experiences. That's why I love focusing on death, because a lot of my behaviour is now propelled forward by what am I going to be happy with and what am I going to regret when I float up out of my body.
And
I've
you're not
said goodbye
attached
to
to it.
that. I'm not attached to it. And then I know my life as Natasha is over. What am I going to regret not doing?
Right.
When I'm in that position. And it's not going to be that, at that point, it's important to stress, it's not going to be from a place of punishment or judgment, but it's just a bit like, oh man, why? Like, do you know what I mean?
Why did I do that?
So everything I do is fueled by that question as well. Again, it's a bigger perspective, isn't it, of seeing things. So always zoom out as much as you can. That's why we keep repeating the same stuff over and over, because it's about getting your subconscious mind used to thinking bigger and you're more expanded. And just remember that if you can't forgive yourself, if you're struggling to forgive yourself for something, just remember you're never going to wish you hadn't done it.
That's so
when you're
true.
getting ready to leave this body that you are now. I just make the most of being who you are. You can't remember, but there was a time when you were jumping around in excitement because you couldn't wait to get into this body, into this version of you, whoever you are now. You just couldn't wait, and you had so much planned, and you were so excited, and you chose you chose the alignment of the stars, of the moon, of the planets, of the precise location of where you came into on this earth to be exactly who you are now. And you might not be portraying that person, that choice, because of your programming, and this is why we talk about all the stuff we do, but you did choose to be who your true potential is. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Like, discover who you are, do all the things that we're saying. Always have the intention of remembering that version of you that you chose before you came in this lifetime, and then make the freaking most out of her or him. Like, just like rinse it, because it's going to be over so soon. You're going to be looking over your body, and you're going to be, I just want everyone to be going, yay, we actually hammered that. It was amazing. We made like the most fun, we did everything that we could have done, you know, in our awareness, to be able to just say, we nailed that one.
That's such a good end game to get to, isn't it?
Yeah.
In everything.
Exactly. There we go, guys. Right.
Thank you, my love.
And do come into our private Facebook group. Come and join us. We can carry on the conversations there. Got lots of exciting stuff going on. We would love to have you. We just want to hear from you guys as well. Like, what do you want us to talk about? There's a lot of stuff going on. People are getting more and more like awake. Things are coming out, aren't they, into the open? So what would you like us to do episodes on? What are you curious about? We just love to hear. Yeah, let us know. But anyway, until next time, guys, we will see you next week.
Take care. Bye-bye.